2 years ago, on May 5th, 2019, I visited the premier park in Canada, Canada's Wonderland. This park is 2.5 hours away from me. It's the closest Cedar Fair park to me, beats Cedar Point by an hour, but it feels way further away because of the fact it's in a different country. I really want to talk about this visit. It was very bittersweet. Part of me feels like I should have done something else. Another park might have been a better option to do. I almost feel like it was a wasted visit even though I had a blast. I did meet amusement insiders after we rode the same train on Yukon Striker. It was very cool to watch the construction on the ride all winter and then finally ride it on the same train as him. That's why I don't really consider it a wasted visit. That's a moment I'll always remember. So when I went there, I was still a pretty new enthusiast. I mean, I still am, depending on how long you've been one. Now it's been 3 years. But at the time, I had only been a true enthusiast for about a year. I knew everything about coasters at the time. Sure, not as much as I do now. I still learn every single day, but I still was just as knowledgeable as the next enthusiast on coasters. The thing that came into play was my experience at parks. At the time, I only had 34 coaster credits going into the park. The only parks that I'd been to previously were Darien Lake, both Universal Parks, Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, Wildemere, and Cedar Point. So I was not at all an experienced enthusiast. Once again, I am still learning from every park I go to, but then I had no idea how to visit a new park. First of all, we went there for one day, a park with 17 credits, the same as Cedar Point. I spent one day at. I think that was more my parents because now I would definitely be going for 2 or 3 days. That's why part of me feels like I should have done a different park, one with not as many coasters. I only got 10 credits at Canada's Wonderland, forcing me to need to go back there, and I didn't get very many re-rides. So I feel like I didn't get to experience any of the coasters as much as I could have. Except Yukon Striker and Behemoth, those were great. Leviathan specifically, I need to re-ride on, especially now that I've ridden way more coasters. Again, I also have 7 more credits to get, including Wild Beast, Flight Deck, Silver Streak, and Thunder Run. Yes, I did the best coasters in the park, well, excluding Time Warp, and I'm very happy for that, but I got in line once at Flight Deck and it was too long, so I figured I'd get the credit on something other than a clone that's at my home park. I got those credits, then I got re-rides. It was a lose-lose situation. I either got re-rides, missed out on credits, or got all the credits but couldn't get a feel for the coasters. I did re-rides and I couldn't get very many anyways. I only got a few on the major coasters and one on the other casual rides in the park. Another thing to point out is that I only did one flat ride Shockwave, but I didn't do the other world-class flat rides this park has to offer. That's because I was too busy getting credits and re-rides, even though I didn't get as many re-rides or credits as I'd hoped for. So I almost feel like I might as well have gotten all the credits and re-rides somewhere else if I didn't go to Canada's Wonderland. I mean, I need to go back to the park anyway, so I really feel unfulfilled. To me, you cannot go to a park with this many coasters for one day. 2 or 3 days is 1000% the way to go. And don't get me wrong, I'm grateful I went and got to meet amusement insiders, but there was a lot wrong with my visit. My true rankings of these roller coasters is different from right after I went. I know it might make sense to listen to me from right after the park instead of 2 years later, but honestly, now that some of those rides don't have as much hype, in particular Yukon Striker, I can barely judge all the coasters based on how good they are. So my brief rankings for Canada's Wonderland in 2021 are: number 10, Time Warp. This ride is hated on by most people out there. I don't hate the ride, but it's not super fun. You're just put in a cage and thrown everywhere around. I think it gets too much hate, but I wouldn't give it any love. Number 9, The Fly. I enjoyed this Wild Mouse coaster very much. I wish I didn't wait in a huge line for it. That was a little too much for me. The disability pass isn't a great system at Cedar Fair parks, so I wish they'd fix that, but ride was fun. My favorite Wild Mouse by far. It almost cracks my top 100, and I know I've only ridden 134 coasters, but considering it's just a Wild Mouse, that's impressive. Number 8 is the Bat. It's a Vekoma Boomerang, the worst I've done, in fact. It's fairly fun, like all boomerangs are. You can't go too wrong, but it's not something I'd likely reride. Number 7, Vortex. It disappointed me a little. I think I'd like it a little more if I did it again, but it wasn't as thrilling as I hoped for. It's a short ride. So yeah. Number 6, Backlot Stunt Coaster. This was the first backlot I did, and it was definitely very fun. Way more fun than I thought it would be. Decently intense, good ride. Number 5, Dragonfire. This was very fun. Surprised me by how fun it actually was. Solid drop, solid inversions, nothing much to say. Number 4, Mighty Canadian Mindbuster. I remember it having decent airtime and laterals, and overall, just thinking it was a solid wooden coaster. Number 3, Yukon Striker. Currently my favorite dive coaster, considering the other I've done is Fjallraven, and I was blown away by this ride. The drop is in my top 5 even to this day, and the inversions can give some great hang time. That vertical loop is intense, and it would be a good coaster to marathon if the line didn't consistently last for 2 hours. Number 2, Leviathan. Not a very memorable coaster, but I remember liking the drop, still being disappointed by it. The speed hill did nothing for me. It was just fun to ride that fast, and that camelback was the best part of the ride. Fun coaster, but truly nothing insanely special. Number 1, Behemoth. I expected this to be my number 1 going into the park, and it was a fantastic ride. I need a rewrite on it to compare it to Goliath over Georgia. I rank Goliath slightly better, but it could be the having ridden it more recently hype. I also enjoyed slamming into my restraints on Goliath. I don't remember Behemoth having that, but I do remember it having better airtime on the normal giant camelbacks. Also, I do like staggered seating on B&M Hypers more, so who knows, maybe this can be even higher in my rankings in 2021. Last thing to talk about is my ride count from the park. And the thing is, I don't know exactly what it is. I forgot. Kinda. I looked everywhere in my past videos, but I forgot that I used to only do music countdowns, even for simple top 10 and top 5 videos. And so I'll have to guess on Yukon Striker and Leviathan's ride count. I know I did Behemoth 5 times, the other 7 non-B&Ms each once. Yukon Striker, I think 4 times, and Leviathan either twice or 3 times. Also, Shockwave once, of course, in terms of flat rides. So I really had a bittersweet day. It was actually very hot in Canada in early May in 2019, and the people at the park were so disrespectful. Like, they kept bumping into me in line without even apologizing or anything. So the line waiting was even more miserable than it already is for me. I got to ride some awesome coasters though, and some rides I need to get back there and do, and also need to stop by Marineland along the way. We spent a whole day before Canada's Wonderland, a couple minutes away from Marineland, but I never even thought to do it. Experienced enthusiast me now would never do that. But please let me know about your experience to Canada's Wonderland if you've ever been, or your best experience if it's your home park. That'll do it for this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you later.